And out of this light came these two stars. Like one was a bigger star and one was a smaller star, and they just floated out towards me. And I saw that the smaller star was my mother. I said, "But mom, who is this other light next to you?" Because it was like a 7 foot tall light next to her, standing next to her. And then this light spoke to me, and it said, "I'm an escort. I'm escorting your mother to the earth plane." And the exact words it said was, "This is an interruption in your life." I was so close to death at that time. That's why I could even see her. And then I heard a voice. And this voice said, in a very gentle way, "If you don't go back now, you might have to stay." It was just like a choice. And I knew that this was the voice of God. I got downloads about heaven and hell. First thing, hell is created by people. It's not created by God. God is only love. And we also are gods with a big G. We can have multiple lifetimes at the same time. There is no hierarchy on the other side, which means that Christ is not more closer to God than you are. There's no right or wrong on the other side. Everybody has a life review. You're going to experience the feelings of the other people that you affected. And starseeds are people who are born to the earth to help the earth raise her vibration faster. So the thing is, when people do bad things on a planet that's rising in vibration, they're not going to have the same outcome as they expect. Okay, I like the nature. Yeah, yeah.
Me too. I'm a nature lover.
Oh, good, good. Because
Oh yeah.
nature is, I mean, I got that from some of my downloads about nature being, it's a healer and it's also raising your vibration when you're around nature, a tree or grass or a lake or even ocean. That all raises your vibration. Yeah.
Hmm. That's so true. Yeah, and speaking of your downloads, Jay's like you speak about this spiritual journey that you've been on.
Mhm.
And, I'd love for you, yeah, to just get right into it. Like, you've been on the creative path for a very long time, being a musician and singer. And now you have now like started this spiritual journey, which just is just an addition to all the amazing things that you already do. So I'd love to know kind of like what your life looked like before now, and then you can just get into how your spiritual journey began.
Okay, well, first, I mean, there's two experiences that I had, major spiritual experiences, I would say. The first one was with my mother, and the second one was my NDE when I died. The first one, well, before that this situation happened with my mother, me and my mother were very close. Okay, my mother, she was like the joy of my life. My father was more military. He was a military man. He was a police officer. He was a prison guard, and he was, his family was more career Marine. Okay, and my father was more, I would say, more like dutiful. He
Mm,
just would, what do you want on your birthday? Here. What do you want for Christmas? Here. And that was it.
yeah.
Where my mother was more um, the joy, the emotion. She was more like, hey, look outside, check out the birds. And do you see the birds? Listen to the birds in the morning and check. She was more like that. She was just the light of my life. And she quit her job to marry my father, and so she didn't really work, but she saved enough money to buy me my first saxophone because I'm a soul singer and a saxophone player.
Mm,
And she bought me my first saxophone. And yeah, like I said, she was just the joy of my life. But then she got sick
mm,
and then she died. And when she died, it was like somebody turned out the lights in my life completely. And I was living in Montreal, Canada at that time. And what happened was when she died, I mean, I was so devastated. About for about a week and a half, 2 weeks almost, I would go to the bar and have a drink, come back home to my apartment, come in my room, sit, turn out the lights, sit on the side of my bed, and cry myself to sleep.
Mm.
That was my routine for about a week and a half.
Yeah.
Until one day, I was going to do my routine. I was coming back from the bar and I was coming in my room. I turned out the light, I sat on the side of my bed, and I went to untie my sneakers. And when I looked down to untie my sneakers, I saw that there was light and on the floor, and I was like, "That's crazy. I know I just turned out the light. Can't be light." And here's the crazy part: when I looked up,
Mhm.
it was as if the sun that you see in the sky was in my room.
Wow.
And when I looked up, I was like that, and this wave. The only way I have to describe it is like a wave of love covered me. It's like if you're in the ocean and there's a wave that's coming and it's too tall for your body and covers your whole body. Well, imagine that to be like love, and that's how it felt.
Wow.
It just washed my whole body like that. And then out, and this light later on, I discovered that the light was God. And out of this light came these two stars. Like one was a bigger star and one was a smaller star, and they just floated out towards me. And I saw that the smallest star was my mother. And my mother, I mean, they floated out to me, and first thing I said was, "It's like that over there, Mom." That's the
Mhm.
first thing I said because the feeling of love was like overwhelming. It was like the only way I can describe it. Imagine you win the lottery for $1 billion. You're in Hawaii, and everybody around you loves you times 100
Wow.
or 1,000. That's how it felt.
Wow.
So she began to talk to me like I'm talking to you now, except I could feel the conversation being shot into my body.
Mm.
I could feel our conversation as well as hear it. I could
Yeah.
feel it in my body could feel it, and it was being shot into me. And she said, "I'm going to tell you a week in advance the future, so you know that this is not an illusion or a fake or nothing like that."
Yeah.
And she said that you're going to get a job because my band hadn't worked in about maybe 2 or 3 weeks. We were on like a real dry spell, so we hadn't worked in a while. She said, "You're going to
Mm.
get a job." And she said that there's going to be a bouncer guy there. And this bouncer is going to be a homosexual and a psychopath.
Yeah.
And she said, whatever you do, don't get into an argument or fight with him. And she said because this. Then she started to talk like Captain Kirk or Star Trek Enterprise. She said there's going to be two timelines. She said one timeline you're going to kill him if you get into a fight or an argument. And the other timeline he's going to kill you. Now
Yeah.
he says she said if you kill him you're going to go to jail for the rest of your life. And one of these two timelines is going to happen if you get into an argument with him. Now, I
Mm.
was so happy to see my mother. I said, "Mom, I do whatever you tell me to do. Whatever you say, I'm doing." My mother
Yeah.
said that to me because she knew me. It wasn't that I'm not against people who are gay or lesbian or homosexual. But if somebody knows that I'm not and they come after me, I'm going to defend myself. That's
Mm.
just
Yeah.
like that. And my mother knew that. She knew I was a person that I'm not looking for trouble, but I could handle trouble if it came my way.
Mhm.
So she knew that about me. So that's why she
Yeah.
told me don't get into an argument with this person. And she said, or one of these two timelines are going to happen. But I was just so happy to see her. I just, like I said, "Mom, whatever you tell me to do, I'm doing it. I do exactly whatever you tell me to do." And then she said another thing. She said, um, the girlfriend that I was seeing at the time, she said she has 3 kids that you don't know about. And she says she's going to try to have a fourth one with you. She
Yeah.
says she's going to try to trap you, maybe tell you she's on pill or whatever. She's going to try to trap you. She said, be careful about that.
Wow.
And then she took a pause. And when she took a pause, I said, but mom, I said, who is this other light next to you? Because it was like a 7 foot tall light next to her, standing next to her.
Yeah.
And then when I asked her about this light spoke to me and it said, I'm an escort. I'm escorting your mother to the earth plane. And I said, an escort? Okay. And the exact words it said was, this is an interruption in your life.
Mm.
And I said, interruption. I said, okay, well, I got some questions because in my room right now, it's like Star Wars.
Yeah.
I mean, the lights everywhere, the sun is here. I mean, I got some questions like, why am I here? Who's going to be my wife? Am I going to have it? How many kids am I going to have? And this angel, this angel said very calmly, it said, I'm going to tell you the answer to all your questions,
Mm.
but you won't be allowed to remember. Only what your mother
Oh.
says you'll be allowed to remember. So it told me the answers to everything, but I could not remember. I only could remember what my mother told me. And after that, my mother said, I love you and I'll always be around you, but you won't be aware of me as much as you are tonight, but I'll
Mm.
always be around you. And she said, I love you. And then her and this big light, this angel, drifted back into the sun. Like if you put a ice cube in a glass and it begins to melt. That's how it was. They went back into the sun and the sun started to leave and slowly my room became darker and darker and darker until when it was dark, tears just burst out of my eyes.
Yeah.
And I was just like, nobody's ever gonna believe me. Nobody's ever gonna believe this even happened.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna believe me. Nobody. This is too incredible. I said, nobody's gonna believe me. But I have the proof. Now, the next day, I got a call from the band, and the band said, hey, we got a gig. Now, I didn't dare tell my band what had happened the night before because I
Yeah.
thought they just going to say, oh man, he's a great singer, great saxophone player, but man, when his mom died, he lost it. He lost it.
Mm.
So I didn't tell them nothing. I just said, oh, okay, we got a gig. That's great. That's great. And I hung up the phone. And then we went to this sound check, what we call a sound check. For people who don't know what a sound check is when the band tests all the sound equipment to make sure there's no problems before the show, about maybe 2 or 3 hours before the show. So we did the sound check. So I went to this new club and there was these 2 bouncers there, but they didn't say nothing or bother me. And I went into the club. We did our sound check. Everything sounded great. We left. And now we're coming at night to the gig. And we get to the gig and we do our first set and it sounds great. Everybody's happy. Everything went really well. And I'm on the break and I'm talking to my band. This is me and the band. And we're talking. And this guy, this bouncer guy, passes me and grabs my butt while I'm talking. And I'm talking, I got, hey, like that. And I said, guys, did you see this? This guy just grabbed my butt. And he went, grabbed my butt, and he went into the corner and just watched me. And I said, man, did you see that, guys? This guy just grabbed my butt. And they said, no, we just saw him pass you because I was in the way for them to see the grab.
Yeah.
So I said, I got to tell this guy something. I was angry. I was really
Yeah.
mad. And I was going over there very angry. And then I said, oh, wait. Oh, remember what mom said? Don't lose it, man. Stay calm. Don't lose it. Don't lose it. Remember what mom said. So I went over there and I told him, I said, look, man, I'm not like that. Please don't touch me. And he said, I didn't touch you, man. You had too much beers. I said, no, you did touch me, but please don't. I'm not like that. And
Yeah.
then he said, well, why did you tell your friends? I said, I told my friends because you touched me. That's why I told my friends. And I said,
Yeah.
please don't touch me. I'm not like that. And then I walked away because the longer I stayed there, the more the conversation was going to that place where my mother had talked about, not to get into an argument with this person. So I said that I said I'm not like that, man. Don't touch me, please, anymore. And I walked away. And we did our second show. That went great, but I didn't stick around at the club after that. I didn't feel comfortable there.
Yeah.
So I left. I passed him and left. I went out to the club and nothing happened. The next day, I got a call from the band
Mm.
and they said, hey, man, did you hear what happened? I said, no. I mean, I left the club. We did the second set. I left the club. What happened? He said, remember that bouncer you said that had grabbed you? I said, yeah. He said he got into an argument with the club owner and crushed both of the rib cages of the club owner. The club owner is dead, and this guy is
Oh,
in jail right now as we speak for manslaughter.
wow.
And that was the first experience. When he told me that, I said, "Oh my goodness!" I said I knew something was weird about this guy, but I
Mm.
still didn't tell him what
What
had happened
happened?
before. I
Yeah.
just said, "Oh man, that's crazy," because the club owner was a nice person. He was a nice guy, but because my dead mother told me this information, he was the one that got into the argument with him, not me.
Oh man.
But I would have if my mother hadn't warned me.
Yeah.
So I hung up the phone and I said, oh my goodness, everything my mom said is coming true. Everything. And then I said, but wait, if this is coming true, my girlfriend. Oh my goodness. So I got it. I said, I got to call her. I got to call her. This can't be. I got to call her. So I called her. She said, hello, hello. I said, hey, how you doing? I said, tell me something. Just tell me the truth. Do you have three kids? And the phone went silent. And then she said, who told you? And I said, no, no, this can't be. I know you for a year and a half. No way. It's no way. No way. I said, I'm going to ask you again. Wait, maybe you didn't hear me right. I'm going to ask you again. Do you have three kids? And she said, yes, I do. But who told
Oh.
you? And then I said, well, I'm going to tell you who told me. My dead mother told me. And I said, I would have accepted your three kids if you had been honest.
Yeah.
But you denied your own kids. I said, I don't know what else you could be hiding. So me and you are through. We finish. And then I hung up the phone, and that was it with her. And that was the first experience, first major
Wow.
spiritual experience.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So yeah, that and it was such an amazing experience that I said I'm going to try to go back to normal life because I said this is all too much for me. You know,
Yeah.
I'm just an artist. This is all too much for me. I said I'm going to try to go back to normal life. So I ended up following this singer. Now it's a singer that they made this group a remake called the Platters, but it's not the original Platters. That's too old for me. But it's like a remake of this group. And
Mm.
there was a lead singer, and he was like amazing singer. I mean, awesome. So he was like more like a mentor towards me. Like I was singing background vocal for him, and he was teaching me things about vocals.
Mm.
And he was successful. He had contracts in Germany, here, America. He was doing really great. Until one day, he offered me drugs. And I started to do drugs with him, which I'm not so proud of. But I started to do drugs with him because I thought this was the way. Yeah, look at him. He's successful. I mean, this must be the way. So I started to do drugs with him.
Yeah.
And until one day, one weekend, he just dropped dead. And that was my wake up call. I went cold turkey. I said, if you continue like him, you're gonna drop dead. So I stopped cold turkey. I didn't go to no rehab, no nothing. I just stopped. And I
Wow.
said, and I said, I'm gonna replace it with marijuana. I said that maybe I smoke a joint once a month, two times a month. That's gonna be it. That's
Yeah.
gonna be it. So that's what I did. And with this one day with my new girlfriend, we ran out of marijuana. So I hate to say it, but it's true. But most musicians, no matter what country, no matter what city, they all know how to get some marijuana.
That's so true.
That's just a fact.
That is so true.
So we ran out. So I just picked up the phone and called one of my musician friends, and I said, "Hey, you got any marijuana?" And he said, "Yeah, sure." And he said, "I'll bake it in a cake for you and bring it over." I said, "Cool," because I never had it in a cake. I always
Yeah.
smoked it, but I never had it in a cake. So he baked it it was a chocolate cake, and he brought it over to my apartment with me and my girlfriend. And then he left. He didn't stay. He just brought it to me and he left. Now, what I didn't realize till way after is that he must have poured tons and tons and tons and tons of marijuana in this cake. So I cut a small piece for me and a small piece for her. We ate the cake and waited 10 minutes. Nothing happened. I said, "You feel anything?" She said, "No." I said, "I don't feel nothing either." I said, "Maybe we have to eat more cake." So I cut I cut half of the cake for me and the other half for her, and we ate it. I ate half, she ate half, because we wanted to get high. So I waited another 10 minutes. I said, "You feel anything?" She says, "No, I don't feel nothing." I said, "Me neither." I said, "It must be a bad batch." Then another 10 minutes went by, and then we started to feel something. But it wasn't necessarily like we were getting high. It was more like our bodies began to shut down.
Oh no.
And like I would be talking to her, and then I would forget to breathe. Forget to breathe. Wow. And then it was beginning hard for me to move. And she said, "You better call 911 while we still can." And I said, "Yeah, because this is not good. I can't barely move." And I was pushing myself to get to the phone. And I called 911 and they said, "Well, how can we help you?" And this was the embarrassing part because I had to say, "Well, we took I think we took too much marijuana in a cake, and I think we're dying. Could you please come save us? Could you please come help us?" And they said, "Okay, we'll be right over." But what I didn't know is that whenever you call 911 for a narcotic, they also call the police. So the police came first, and when they came to the apartment first, they there was nothing for them to charge us with because we had eaten all the evidence. There was no marijuana, there was nothing. So they left. They left, and so then the ambulance came. Now this happened at 4 o'clock in the morning, by the way.
Yeah.
So I'm on the third floor, and the ambulance finally arrived. I was really happy that the ambulance came because I was like I couldn't move at that point. I was trying to get keep my heart to beat, and it was quite serious when they arrived. And I was so happy that they arrived, and we went down in separate stretchers. Now I had a stairwell case outside the apartment for them to take us out, but it rolled in a stairwell, but it was right in front of the windows of the second floor and the first floor apartments. So the lights were flashing, the sirens were, and people were looking out. My neighbors were looking out their window because I was right in front of their window, and they and they're like, "What happened to them?"
Oh
And it
man.
it looked like a scene out of I don't know David Bowie, Mick Jagger overdose. It just looked wild. It just looked
Wow.
wild. So they put us both in the ambulance in separate stretchers, and we got to the hospital. And when we went to the hospital, they took her in another one room and they put me in another room. But as I was passing the reception at the hospital, I saw my dead mother again. This time, she was looking through papers at the reception, looking for where they were going to put me or something like that. She had this shirt on. Now, my mother was a member of about a women's club for about 12 women. They would go play bingo, they would go on trips, stuff like that. It was like a
Mm-hmm.
women's club. And she had that shirt that I recognized right away. And as they were rolling me past the reception, I said, "That's strange. There's mom." Now, what I
Wow.
didn't realize was that I was so close to death at that time. That's why I could even see her, just like I could see you right now.
Yeah.
And so they rolled me into a room and rolled my girlfriend into another room. And they gave me this drink to drink. And I thought it was tar, but I later found out that it was like charcoal.
Yeah.
So they left me in the hospital room by myself, and they went to her because she was having some kind of complications, which I don't know. And so I sat on my hospital bed and I said, "Thank God, I think I'm going to live. I'm going to live. I'm going to live."
Yeah.
Because I couldn't move before. My heart was barely beating, and so I drank this drink as fast as I could. It was horrible, tastes horrible. Ugh. And I drank it down, and then I laid on the side on the bed, laid back on the bed,
Mm.
and I said, "I think I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna live." And then I started to hear my heart in my ear, like somebody took out my heart and put it right at my ear, and it started to beat like boop boom boop boom boop boom boom, and that was it. And when did the last boom, I popped out of my body like I would pop out of this chair like that. I just
Yeah.
popped out of my body, and I said, "I'm out."
Wow.
And I looked at my hand. I was looking at my
Insane.
hand just like that, and my hand had this gray, light bluish tint around it.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if you ever saw like emergency broadcasting system, like when the TV, when if you watch TV too late, it used to come on. I don't think it does anymore because now they have so many channels. But before they only had 3 or 4 channels, and
Yeah.
when you watch that, this this emergency broadcasting system would come on. The static would come over the TV, and my
Yeah.
hand it kind of looked similar to that, except I mean because if you look in the static, there's colors in the static.
Yeah.
But my hand was gray with a light blue tint all around it.
Wow.
And I was looking at it like this. And I mean, I was standing there. I could see my body was in the bed and I was standing next to my body.
Mm.
And that didn't disturb me. And then I heard this drop of water. There was a sink in my hospital room. And this
Yeah.
drop of water was going boop, 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 boop. And for some odd reason, my curiosity on the other side was like at 1,000. And to a soul, a drop of water was like the most fascinating thing you could ever see. And I said, "Oh, a drop of water.
Wow.
Wow." And the minute I thought about the water, my vision went straight to the sink, to the water, and back to where I was standing.
Wow.
And then after that, as if I was remembering, it's like if I give you a bike in 20 years from now and you don't ride a bike in 20 years, you're still going to know how to ride a bike.
True.
Well, it was like that. I waved my hand across the air like just like I'm doing now, and the water froze in midair. I had stopped time.
Wow.
And to a soul, that was not very much. It was not a big thing.
Not much. And not a big deal.
No, it was not a big deal. And then I said, "I'd like to see that water from every angle."
Yeah.
And then I just opened my hand just like I'm doing now. 5 of me appeared, of
Mm.
me. One on the right, one on the left, one underneath, one watching them, and me watching all five.
Wow.
And I'm just looking at them and I'm like, what? This is wild. And then I closed my hand. When I would close my hand, they all five would suck back into me like this, right back into one. And I did, and I opened my hand again. Then they would all appear at the sink. And I kept
Wow.
doing that. I just said, and I kept doing it, and it started to be like Bugs Bunny. I started to have fun, and I kept doing it, boom, boom, really fast, chum, shum, chum, shum, chum, like a kid.
Oh
And
my
then I
goodness.
said, and then the last time I said, I wonder if I open my hand and I open it and I do a little shake, will all five of them shake? And I did it like this. I opened my hand and I did a little shake like that, and they all appeared and they did a little shake, and I burst out laughing.
Oh my
I
gosh.
burst out laughing, and it sounded like I was laughing in the Grand Canyon. It just went ha 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 ha. Ha. And after the laugh, I started to feel that somebody was watching me, and then I heard a voice,
Mm,
and this voice said, in a very gentle way, "If you don't go back now, you might have to stay."
mm.
And it wasn't a command, it wasn't an order, it was just like a choice. And I knew that this was the voice of God. And it was offering me a choice because my heart couldn't stay stopped that long. I think it'd been maybe 20 minutes.
Right.
So at that moment, it was a hard choice because I was having fun. And the longer I stayed, the more powers I was having.
Yeah.
Like, incredible. And the other thing is, the moment I stepped out of my body, information was coming to me like crazy, like like an Alka Seltzer. If you put an Alka Seltzer in water, it's going to dissolve. Well, imagine the
Mm.
opposite. You're getting information, but it's expanding, 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 expanding,
Yeah.
and that was happening. You might want to call it downloads, whatever you want to call it, but that's what it was. And then, so I turned myself in the direction of the body on the bed. And here's another thing: I didn't want to look at my face,
Why
never,
not?
because I was afraid that my face was going to be like some kind of dead expression on it. Yeah. So I just looked at my leg. I knew I was standing, and the leg was there, so I knew I was out.
Yeah.
So I pointed myself in the direction of my body, and I just willed myself. I like jumped right onto the body, and it just the soul went in, and I made like a double beat on my heart, boom, 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 boom,
Mm,
and then it started to beat a normal. And basically that was it. But when I came back this time, I was allowed to remember all the information that came,
mhm.
not like with my mother's situation.
Wow.
And a lot of these downloads were opposite of what I believed. I mean,
Yeah, let's get into it.
for example, I got downloads about heaven and hell. First thing, hell is created by people. It's not created by God.
Mm.
Um, God is only love,
Yes, yes.
unconditional, no judgment of any kind. Um, we are part of God, and we also are gods with a big G. We
Yeah.
can have multiple lifetimes at the same time. The life you're having right now is like a part of your soul's little fingernail, a piece of your soul's little fingernail. That's how much power you're using, which is very little.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay. Um, the reason why people who die and go to hell and they experience hell is because either they have fear of that or they believed it. Because as a god, whatever you believe, you're creating on the other side.
Mm.
So if you believe in hell, you're going to create that hell, and that's some of the first things you're going to experience.
Mm-hmm.
So you go into this hell, and in the Christian religion, you go to hell, you're not supposed to never get out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why are hundreds getting out of hell and coming back to tell about it? It's because they're the ones who are creating the hell. Okay? If I'm going to tell you this, if God was to create hell, nobody would get out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? But God
Yeah.
doesn't, God isn't creating the hell. Now, two things happen to those people who go to hell. Either one is that they realize it's them who creating this whole thing, this hell, and they leave. Or they cry out to God and say, "Oh God, please help me. I'm in hell. I'm in hell." And God
Yeah.
says, "Okay, I'm going to take you out of your own creation."
Yeah.
And they take them out, and the people think, "Oh God, He spared me," and blah blah, and I have to be a good. They don't even get that the fact that first thing, God loves you, and He just took you out of your own creation.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
And it's the same for heaven. People who believe in heaven, that's probably one of the first things they're going to experience. But it's nothing going to be happening. They'll go to heaven and they'll see maybe Jesus, Virgin Mary, a few angels, but nothing else will be happening. And
Yeah.
eventually they'll say, nothing happening here. People just floating around, but nothing's happening.
Yeah.
And they're going to realize it's them who created. Because on the other side, every place is heaven because it's all made from God.
Yeah. Wow.
There's no special place.
Mm.
Okay. And
Wow.
also I got downloads about Jesus. There were many Jesuses that came with the same uh, ideas or consciousness. And there is a real Christ consciousness on the other side. It's just under unconditional love.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and this does exist, but there is no hierarchy on the other side, which means that Christ is not more closer to God than you are. Virgin Mary is not more closer to God than you are. Uh, Gabriel or Michael, the angel, archangel, is not more closer to God than you are. There is no hierarchy.
Yeah.
Okay, only true religion over on the other side is love.
Yeah.
Okay, and I mean, the other downloads was that there. Oh yeah, there's no right or wrong on the other side.
Yeah.
Only perception. Here's the other download. This life is a game. It was created by other souls so we could experience what we are not and to experience, period. That's all. It's not a school. It's not for your soul to have evolution or something. Your soul is perfect on the other side. It needs none of that.
Yeah.
Okay? You came here to experience. For example, if you're black and you're on the other side and everything you see is black, everything the room you're in is black, you don't even know that you're black
True.
until you see a white room or a green room or a purple room. Then you say, I'm the black room.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's the same for the other side. You experience love and unconditional love and power. And when you come into this game, you experience the opposite, which is like no love, almost no helplessness, powerlessness.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you're going to go back, you're going to appreciate all that power and all that love like never before. Okay.
Mm.
But this is still a game. I had people ask me many times, well, what about Hitler? What is God? God's going to welcome him with love and open arms? And the answer is yes. But everybody has a life review. And in life review is you're going to experience the feelings of the other people that you affected,
Yeah.
good or bad. So a person like Hitler who affected millions and caused millions to suffer and torture and die, He's got to feel that
Yeah.
as well as his own feelings. He's got to feel what he caused the others. And that's not going to be a good feeling, I can tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
But it won't last forever. And a life review is not to judge you, it's just to review.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And
Wow.
the other thing is the downloads about the earth is that the earth is a soul, by the way. And it agreed to play this game where it's called 3D. And 3D is duality, good, bad. That's why life always feels like it's good, then it's bad, then it's good, then it's bad, then it's good, then it's bad. That's the duality. Now, the Earth agreed to play for a few billion years, but now she doesn't want to play anymore. She doesn't want to play the 3D. So she's moving to 5D.
Yeah.
Now, 5D is fifth dimension. So she made a call out to have what we call star seeds, and these star seeds are it's like example, you if you want to move to a new apartment. Now, you could do all the work by yourself, but it's going to take you quite a while.
Yeah.
But if you call out to your friends, what's going to happen? You're going to move faster,
Get
right?
help.
Exactly. That's what she did. And star seeds are people who are born to the earth to help the earth raise her vibration faster. Now, star
Mm.
seeds are people that are very sensitive, but they're very positive. They help people all the time. They just want to help. They just in their nature. We all know somebody like that.
Yeah.
And but they can't be around a lot of crowds. They're too sensitive for crowds. Those are star seeds,
Mm.
and they came for the purpose of helping the earth rise in their vibration, whether they're conscious of it or not.
Mm.
Okay, whereas we might came just to experience what we're not or to experience.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
So they
and
have
that's
like a special purpose, a
yes.
specific
Well,
purpose.
well, the thing is, 50% of your life you already planned,
Yeah.
and the other 50% is free will.
Can you break that down for me? Like,
Okay, for example, you planned who your parents would be. You
yeah,
planned who your children are going to be. You planned who your dog and cat's going to be. You plan who your best friend's going to be. You plan who your enemy's going to be. You plan who the guy's going to break your heart, who that's going to be.
Lord.
You plan you plan the love of your life, who that's going to be. Okay,
Yeah.
these are all souls in your soul family, and usually a soul family can be anywhere from 12 to 40 people that incarnate into the game the same time you, and you make an agreement. They like an exchange. You like one wants to feel. I want to feel how it feels to be like a bad person because I'm over here.
Yeah.
I'm always in love and good. I wonder how that might feel. So they're
Yeah.
going to be the bad one that breaks your heart, or or your enemy in school, or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
you all agree to that, and that's the destiny. But you still have free will. So you still can say, I don't want those parents, I leave. I don't want that boyfriend, I leave. I don't want that husband, I leave. I don't want that best friend, I change my mind. You still have free will.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Absolutely.
yeah, so, and here's the other thing about the Bible, a lot of it is not true. Sorry to say for all the people who are religious, but it was manipulated
Yeah.
by the church and by the government that was ruling at the time 2,000 years ago. Okay. A lot of things Christ said that was true, but a lot of things was manipulated that Christ didn't even say.
Of course. Of course.
Like for example, you can only come to God but through me. That's totally untrue because your soul is inside of you. That's the God. You don't even have to really go to church because your soul is here. God is right
Yeah.
here. It's not in some church. Okay.
Yeah.
But Jesus did try to tell people that, these works I do, but you'll do greater than these. See, that's him telling. That's the true parts, but there's some true parts in the Bible and some not.
Yeah.
Because first thing, God is not going to separate. God is not going to make you put your son as a sacrifice just to test you. No way. God is love.
Yeah.
That's not love.
True.
Okay. So and yeah. So this a lot of this stuff is not true. Um, like I said, I was raised a Christian. In my household, not a serious Christian, but holiday Christian, whatever you want to call it. But
Yeah.
all my beliefs went out the window when I passed away because I saw what was really the truth. And the
Mm.
real truth was that only some of the Bible was true, and the parts about fear, separation, revenge, hate, not true. And
Yeah.
also about Christ. If you don't go to Christ, you can't get into God. You can't
The middleman,
reach God.
right?
Yeah, this is not true.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Absolutely.
and reincarnation is true, but it won't be true so much in the future because the Earth is not playing going to play the game anymore. It's going to 5D, and I'm going to talk about that. That's what's happening in the world today now.
Yeah, let's get
We're
into
we're
that.
in, we're in transition. That means the frequency or the vibration of the planet has totally changed, and it's rising towards 5D. And 5D, what is 5D? 5D is fifth dimension, which means that in this 5D, there'll be no killing of animals, plants, or people. We'll have 20% of our soul power in the physical body. We'll have telepathy. We'll be able to communicate with rocks, plants, animals.
Mm.
We'll be able to create matter with our mind. So
Mm.
if we want a McDonald's double cheeseburger, we can create it with our mind into reality without a cow ever being killed.
Mm.
And it has no chemicals.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That sounds
So,
good.
yeah. And technology will be so advanced because there'll be nothing being held back from us as humanity. Because a lot is being held away from us. They know a lot more than they're sharing. Um, and in 5D, you'll be able to visit the other side and come back.
Mm.
So if you have your
Wow.
dead mother, your dead father, you could be in 5D in that dimension. You'll be able to go back over there to the other side, say, hey, hello, and then come back.
Wow.
Okay. This and it's not going to be a thing where you go to sleep one night and then all of a sudden you wake up and millions of people have disappeared. It's going to be a gradual thing, like going from winter to summer. Okay, it's gradually
Yeah.
happening every now, and also when the vibration rises, it's changing our DNA. Literally, there's more sun coming to the earth. Literally, the science will back you up. The Schumann resonance is off the charts. Normally it's
Mm.
at 7.83. Right now it's at 100 and above.
Wow.
Okay. 7.83 is the exact same frequency of the human brain.
Mm.
And it's the exact same frequency of the planet Earth.
Wow.
Okay. So the thing is, when people do bad things on a planet that's rising in vibration, they're not going to have the same outcome as they expected.
Mm.
Okay. It's just think of it like it's high vibrations and low vibrations. This is another download. Low vibrations is fear, anger, depression, regret, stress, confusion, lies. This is all low vibration. Low vibration makes things work difficult if they work at all, and it's very bad for your health. What
Yeah.
is high vibration? High vibration is love, joy, smiles, laughing, nature, animals, babies,
Yeah.
creating of any kind, okay? Joy, gratitude, forgiveness. This is all high vibrations. Now, what does high vibrations do? High vibrations make things work easier. High vibrations brings more money, more success. High vibrations is very good for your health. And even the doctor will tell you if you laugh more, it's good for your health.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, it's not about uh, being perfect. Now, the thing I tell my clients is that you want to be like a 3 year old. Now, imagine a 3 year old little girl runs down the street really fast and then she falls. Pow! And then she
Yeah.
screams. She screams because she feels that low vibration emotion. But a minute later, that same 3 year old little girl is going to be laughing.
That's so true.
Why? Because she felt that low vibration emotion, but then she let it go. Where adults, they hold on to it for hours, weeks, days, years, even decades.
Yeah.
So it's not
Yeah.
about being perfect. Your emotions are your thermometer to tell you if you're on low vibrations or high vibrations. So you can't say, well, I don't know what vibration I'm on. All you got to do is ask yourself, how do I feel? If I feel
Yeah.
good, I know I'm on high vibrations. If I don't feel so
Yeah.
good, then I know I'm on low vibrations. And what I suggest to my clients, and I'm going to tell you about it and your public, is that you make a list of 10 things that automatically make you happy. The first one I will give you, which is nature. If you live near a park, a tree, a lake, an ocean, you sit under the tree for 1 hour and your vibration will rise automatically. You don't have to do nothing.
Mm.
The other 9 things are personal to you. Could be your favorite movie, a funny cartoon, could be your favorite dessert, could be a friend that makes you laugh, could be a boyfriend, girlfriend, could be a good book. Um, it could be creating music, drawing, writing. All this is high vibration. But whatever makes you automatically happy, you write it on this list of 10 things.
Yeah.
Because your emotions is your thermometer to tell you if you're on low vibrations or high vibrations. And we, being in the human condition, we all can be subject to wake up one morning and be afraid about wars or governments or people or situations. And
Yeah.
like if I wake up and I'm afraid, all of a sudden that's my emotions telling me, hey, Dennis, you're going on low vibrations. You're in
Yeah.
a fear vibration. What are you going to do about it? And I go to my number 2, which is Bugs Bunny. And I
I
watch
love
Bugs
Bugs
Bunny
Bunny.
yeah, I watch Bugs Bunny for about 15 minutes and then I'm laughing and I'm back on high vibrations. And I repeat, it's not about being perfect. It's just about knowing what to do if you find yourself on low vibrations. Now, if you have to feel low vibration emotion, feel it, but then let it go like that 3 year old. Feel it, but then let it go. Because if you don't feel your emotions, what happens is later on you explode. Nobody knows why. So you
Yeah.
got to feel your emotions because a lot of spiritual people try to tell you, "Oh, never feel bad feelings and never feel low vibrations." That's not correct.
Yeah.
The point is that you don't stay on those low vibrations very long. That's the point. That's the problem because the law of attraction is real. It's real on the other side and it's also real here, but it's more delayed here. So if you stay on low vibrations for a long time, then you're going to attract what? More low vibrations.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Wow.
these are like the downloads. And then I discovered um, after my near death experience, um, I was going to try to go back to, to normal life because I just said my life
Again.
yes, it's just too much. So I tried to go back to normal life, and I went. My band, we had a gig at this place called Mont Roland in Canada, and it was a club that was open like in the daytime, and there was a snowstorm, so nobody was in the club, and it was just me, us, the band, and these 2 waitresses.
Mm.
So I was bored, and we were all having a beer, and I was bored. So I said to one of the waitresses, "Hey, come on over here. I'm going to tell you your future for fun." It was supposed to be a
Yeah.
joke. So I took her left hand, and I didn't know her. And I said, "Your boyfriend is paraplegic." I said, "He blames you for his handicap, even though it's not your fault. 3 months from now, you're going to meet a guy, you're going to fall in love. And another
Mm.
3 months, you're going to marry this guy. And I just threw her hand away. I didn't even pay attention that she never said one word while I was saying that. And I just finished my beer.
Mm-hmm.
A year later, we played that same club, and this same waitress was still working there. She ran up to me and she said, "Did you know that everything you said came true, was true?" I said, "No
Wow.
way." I said, "No way. Your boyfriend was paraplegic?" She said, "Yes." I said, "He blamed you for his handicap even though it wasn't your fault?" She said, "Yes." I said, 3 months after you met a guy? She said, "Yes." I said, "You fell in love?" She said, "Yes." And I said, "You got married 3 months after?" And she didn't even say yes. She just showed me the wedding ring.
Wow.
And the bumps went up my arm like this. My band said, "Hey, man, what's happening to you? You turning into Nostradamus or something?" And I said, "Man, I don't know what's happening to me." I said, I feel like I was asking myself, am I an alien now since I passed away?
Wow.
I said, I don't know. And that's when I began to realize that I had some kind of gifts. And
Yeah.
then I had another experience, which was not such a fun experience, but we had a friend that was another friend who was a bouncer, but this those people before was not friends, but this was a good friend, cool people with us.
Yeah.
And all these bouncers are like huge guys, really, really big. I'm 6'2", but these guys, I mean, they're Hulk Hogan type.
Yeah.
And I had a premonition that this guy should not go out this weekend. I had it on Thursday.
Mm.
And I said, the premonition stayed with me like a cloud over my head all day and all night. Tell this guy, don't go out. Don't go out this weekend. Just stay home. And I'm like, yeah, but if I tell him that, I mean, who's going to mess with this guy? You got to be suicidal if you want to mess with this guy. Just to look
Yeah.
at him, you got to be suicidal. This
He's
cat is
huge, right?
huge. You're going to start trouble with this one?
Forget about it.
Forget about it. And so I said, man, he's going to think I'm crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So Friday came, and he worked at this place like an after hours. We call it an after party. It's like after we would play our show, the clubs would close, and this particular place would stay open like till 8, 9:30, 10 in the morning,
Yeah.
serving
Yeah.
drinks. So after our show, we would go to these after hours, and that's where this bouncer worked.
Yeah.
So we went, we did our show, and I saw him there, and he was cool, and everything was cool. So I said, man, I'm not going to tell him. I said, that's too crazy. Maybe it's me. You've been through a lot lately. You died, man. Maybe it's just me. You feeling strange things.
Yeah.
That's how I felt. So I didn't tell
Yeah.
him. So Sunday came. We did our show and we went to the after hours, but he wasn't there.
Mm.
Another bouncer was there. And this bouncer was at the door having tears rolling down his face.
Mm.
And I said, hey, man, what's wrong?
Mm.
He said, you didn't hear? I said, no. What happened? He said, the bouncer is dead. I said,
Mm.
dead? I said, what happened? He said he met a girl on Saturday night. He took her to a hotel. She
Yeah.
waited till he fell asleep and took a butcher knife and slashed his throat. By
That's
the time he
crazy.
realized that she was cutting his throat, he had lost too much blood and went unconscious and died.
Wow.
And I felt so bad because I felt like I knew, but I didn't tell because, I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
So I went to his funeral. And after that, I promised myself, I said, man, if you get a premonition about the President of the United States, I'm going to tell him. I don't care how crazy they think I may be. I
Yeah.
said, I'm going to tell any premonition that I get about people, I'm going to just tell them. And it took me a while to deal with that. And then my soul told me that he wouldn't have believed you anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And also in my downloads that we all have these exit points.
Mm-hmm.
Exit points are like, for example, you're on the phone. and you went on the phone too long and you have to go to work in the morning, and because you were on the phone 10 minutes later than you normally would be, you missed an accident that would have happened in the intersection that you drive your car,
Yeah. Yeah.
but you missed it because you were on the phone, or you missed your plane and that plane crashed.
Yeah.
Those are all exit points. Everybody has these exit points if they want to leave the game, if they don't want to play the game anymore.
Yeah.
And that was probably one of his exit points. But after that, I saw that I had this gift, so I started to help people, and I started to do readings, like to help people in their lives and tell them about their personal life or partners or healing. That's another thing that I discovered that I could do. And
Wow.
and so that's what I do. But before that, I mean, before all the spiritual stuff, I was just a musician. I was not looking to be spiritual. I
Yeah.
was not looking to be in that realm so much, but that's the way life kind of pushed me there. So, um, and now we're, like I said, we're in this transition. And here's the thing about the transition. I mean, God's viewpoint on it is that if if you stay on three D and you stay on low vibration, God's just going to say, well, oh, she took the long road home, but she's coming home.
Yeah.
If you decide to be on a high vibration, oh, she took the short road home, but she's coming home.
Yeah. Just perspective.
Okay, right, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's just I don't judge anybody. Like it's just if people like the roller coaster ride, that's 3D. You can do that. Now there's going to be a timeline shift, and I'm going to explain this transition in my
Yeah.
downloads. The timeline shift is like timelines. Now my mother explained timelines to me before, but I got the downloads this time.
Hmm.
Every person changes timelines every 3 minutes.
Wow.
Okay, a timeline is just an option that exists. Okay, for example, there's a timeline that exists right now that you went to the store instead of having this interview. That's in the universe, that's out there. Or you might experience a timeline where have you ever put like your keys on a table and you're sure you put them there? You're positive. And you come back 2 hours later and those keys are not there.
Oh yeah, things disappear all the
And
time.
you look around, you're looking around for 2 and 3 hours, you can't find it. Then you go
Yeah.
back to that table and the keys are right there again.
Right there. Yeah.
That's a timeline shift. You just experienced a timeline shift. And it could be keys, it could be anything.
Mm.
Okay. Well, the Earth is gonna when the Earth reaches this 5D frequency on the whole Earth, it's gonna shift to two timelines. One is gonna be 3D duality, and one is gonna be 5D. And whatever vibration you're on when that shift happens, that's the vibration you'll be stuck on until you leave the game.
Mm.
So the earth is
Wow.
just asking all the souls what vibration you're going to be on, because once I do the timeline shift, you will not be able to jump vibrations. You won't be able to go from low to high. You'll be stuck on whatever vibration you're on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what we're experiencing. But the
Wow.
earth is getting better. It is not getting worse.
It looks like it's getting worse though, right?
Yeah, because the news wants to show you only the worst parts. It doesn't want to show
Yeah.
you all the sunshine that's happening. It doesn't want to show you how the plants are growing much faster than they ever did before because there's more sunlight. It doesn't want to show you all those things. They want to show
Yeah.
you the changes in the climate or the changes in the water and the current and all that stuff like that. But there's a lot more going on, and it's more positive because it's higher
Mm.
vibrations. Higher vibrations means more truth. That's why the governments, they can't lie anymore. They just do it right in your face now. Now it's just us that
That's
makes
so
have to make the
true.
choice. They're
That is
not
so
lying.
true.
They don't lie. They just say it
Yeah.
right in front of your face. Yeah, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna. Before
Yeah.
they were trying to hide because there's too much light. When the more light comes to the planet, the Earth, it's showing all the darkness. So the darkness has no place to hide.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love how
Okay.
what you said before, like that the people who kind of feed into the darkness, that as they're feeding into the darkness, they're not getting the same results that they expect or that they would
Right,
usually
exactly.
get.
That's exactly the expected results because they're on a planet that's rising. Imagine two batteries, positive and negative. When you put them together, they separate.
Yeah.
Okay. Now imagine somebody who's on a low vibration, but they're on a planet that's rising. What's going to happen to that person on a low vibration? They're going to go more and more crazy because
Yeah.
this planet is going to higher vibrations.
Yeah.
You see, so that's why we're seeing people who are on low vibrations. We're seeing things like we never saw before.
That
We
makes
couldn't even
sense.
imagine. We couldn't even imagine that. And so that separation is becoming more and more clear until it's going to go to those timelines.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So this is all the downloads that I got, and
Fascinating.
it really racked my world because it totally changed everything that I believed in, that I thought,
Yeah.
you know, um, about Christ, about everything. You know, I mean, Christ
Yeah.
was someone that tried to bring the consciousness of the other side to this game to show us that we could live this game better. That was it. Okay. It was not this
Yeah.
big mission. And when they talk about certain things in Revelations in the Bible, they're talking about the consciousness of Christ. They're not talking about Christ coming back in the physical. They're talking about his thinking of love, joy, peace. This is going to come back to the earth because the earth is rising in vibration.
That makes perfect sense.
That's what they're talking about when they say Christ coming back or second coming, the second coming of the Christ
Yeah.
consciousness, not the Christ physical body or the
Physical,
person.
yeah. That makes perfect sense. And I guess that is what's occurring right now with
Exactly.
this transition into 5D, which makes
Yes,
perfect sense. Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. You're going to see, I mean, just for example, uh, I saw this in Texas with this governor who hated Mexicans. He wanted to deport them all. And then the storm comes. The Mexicans from Mexico comes across the border and saves his daughter and his grandkids. And now that same governor is saying, I will allow all Mexicans to come into my county. They're the best people in the world. That
Yeah.
is frequency change like you never saw before. That's because the
Yeah.
planet's on higher vibration.
Yeah. Yeah. Not getting the same results as you expected.
There you go. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's what I love about this high vibration because people can
Yeah.
still try to do evil things, but it's not going to be the same results.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, and that provides such a great perspective shift because I think with all the upheaval that's happening in the world right now, the war, it feels like half
Hmm.
the world is burning,
Hmm.
and a lot of people are feeding into the fear, especially when you watch the news and you're hearing and seeing all the things. But like, it's just to know that, like, yes, and it's true because when you look back in the past and how things occurred in the past, the wars and everything that used to happen, even though we're seeing like a repeat of things like that,
Hmm. Hmm.
it's not as excessive as how it used to be,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. 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 Because the planet is on a higher vibration completely.
Yeah. So it's like it gives a great perspective shift for people to kind of, I guess, be comforted that there is other things at play that are happening that will help to, I guess, like keep things at, at a bay. It's not going to go past a certain point or a certain level. So there's no need to
Exactly.
fear because this is just like a
Exactly.
transitional period.
Exactly. You explained it really well. Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. So I mean, so this is the transition, and the people. I'm doing readings for people, and I hope that you're going to put my website, truth
Definitely.
truth energy readings with an s.com. I help people with suicide. I help people with who are sick. I help people with just general life problems, money problems, whatever the situation may be. And also, so they can contact me or book a session with me. I read people's energy. What I do is I go into their energy and I get the answer. It's not that I have
Yeah.
the answer. It's like I go in their energy, ask their soul, "Hey, what's this about? Can you tell me the best solution for this person?" And I get the answer because I'm able to hear that. Um, and so I try to help people like that. And also, I want to say that I'm doing a Egyptian retreat in Egypt.
Nice.
There's going to be 4 nights on a boat where you have your own room, like 5-star room on a boat on the Nile River. There'll be energy reading there. There'll be psychic training there. There'll be holistic breathing, yoga, meditation, and there'll also be sightseeing of special places that have special energy places in temples all around Egypt. And this will happen 4 nights on the boat, and then 3 nights on the land. There'll also be a boutique hotel with your own room where I'll be performing music
Wow.
there, and also they'll be going on trips, and there'll be balloon rides too if you like that type of stuff in Egypt.
Amazing.
And that's for um, 7-8 days. That's from October 13th to October 20th. So if anybody's interested, if you become a member of my website, you get a discount now. And I just wanted to say that for the people if they're interested in that type of thing. It's going to be an amazing, amazing event.
That sounds
Because during that
beautiful.
time you can come, you'll be on the Nile River. The boat will take you to different locations, temples, older than 2,000 years, and that you can see and feel the energy there. I'll be doing energy readings, health readings also. There'll be so much nice stuff. Um, so if anybody's interested, just come to my website and you can see the details. And if you become a member, you get a discount right now. So I just want to say
That's
that. And
amazing.
yeah.
Thank you for sharing that, Dennis. Just before, we close off, there's a couple things that I want to ask you. You mentioned exit points earlier.
Hmm. Hmm.
And, when I first reached out to you, I told you like I also experienced an NDE when I was just a child.
Right,
And
right.
like, would you consider that would have been a possible exit point for me? Like, how does this concept of exit point work from your perspective right now?
Well, the thing is that um, because the soul, for example, my mother knew a week in advance my future.
Yeah.
So the soul knows 50% of what's going to happen in your life. Even a child, like a crib death, let's say, a baby comes into the earth for 6 months and says, "This is too small for me. This body is too small. I want out." And they leave.
Yeah.
Okay. And so your soul knows already a lot of the exit points and whether you're going to leave or not. You still have free will, but it knows a lot when the exit points are going to happen.
Yeah.
Now, you had a near death experience as a child, but you came back. So that was just something that you needed to experience. So when you come back into the game, there's going to be something to ignite about you about there's more to this game than just what you see.
Definitely did that.
Yes, and so it did its job. And you probably planned that because
Crazy.
you planned to be born in the transition. You're in the transition. You could have been
Yeah.
born in 1920 somewhere and you would have missed the transition.
True.
Okay? So you plan to be here, and this is I want to say to the viewers, this is one of the most unique times in the whole universe. Okay, and by the way, I have to say in my downloads, aliens are real. Yes,
Yes. Yes, they are.
extraterrestrials, the extraterrestrials are real. They're all real, and all are part of God, and they all have souls. Animals have souls too, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So, like, Speaking of even animals having souls, like I don't know, like would you be vegan or do you think is there anything um not
Okay, well
good
here,
about eating
okay,
animals?
okay. Here's the thing. I know I'm gonna now I'm gonna really get deep here. Okay, this is my downloads. Okay, the first thing is that neither is better than the other,
Yeah.
because if you eat plants, it's scientifically proved that plants scream
Damn.
while you are killing them,
Oh my god.
but they scream on a higher frequency that you cannot hear. That's the first thing. So eating an animal and the animal suffered before it got killed, or eating a plant that suffered before it got killed because you pulled it out of its roots, is the same. But the point
Mm,
is that when you eat, you have to bless your food. And that
mhm,
means you say to your food, thank you, food, I love you, and I thank you for giving me nutrition.
mhm,
That's all. Now it's been proven, you can look it up and Google it. A Japanese scientist did an experiment with two bowls of white rice. One bowl, he said, every day for 1 month, I hate you, you're disgusting, I can't stand you. And the other
yeah,
bowl of white rice, he said, I love you, I adore you, you're so good for my health. At the end of the month, the bowl that he said, I hate you, turned totally black, and you could not eat it. The
yeah,
bowl that he said, I love you, stayed white and it was edible. You could still eat it. That's to
yeah,
show you how powerful your words are. So if you have food that's not in a good condition, or that has too many chemicals or whatever, when you bless that food, you change the material in that food, and that food
mm,
will be good for you. You can also do it with water.
mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I know because it's such a huge discussion amongst people and people like, keyboard
Yeah.
warriors on social media.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
It's like this is better, that is better, but as you said, like there is no wrong or right. It's all just an
Mm-mm.
experience.
No, and it's perception, because like I said, just because you don't hear the plants screaming doesn't mean that, and you're killing them. It was alive. Plants are alive. You can even talk to them and they're going to grow more. They're alive.
Yeah.
So just
Yeah.
because you kill it, and you can't, if you step on an ant, you ain't going to hear the ant scream, but you're killing that ant.
Yeah.
But that ant is screaming, but you can't hear it because our perception, we're not picking up that level of perception. But another animal that's the same as size as the ant, can hear the ant screaming in agony.
Yeah.
You see, it's the same for plants, and it's the same for food. So it's not about that we uh, eating vegetarian or eating meat. It's more about blessing it or not blessing it.
Mm. Yeah, that's a totally different perspective. And like your whole experience also just just solidifies that idea that there is no death, right? That
No.
like even when speaking about your mom and everything, that life continues. It's just another form. It just continues in another form.
Yeah, well, I mean, when I died, it was as easy as drinking a glass of water.
Yeah.
It was not like, in fact, when I died, I had to make sure I was dead. I was looking at my hand, I was looking at the body. I had to make sure I'm here, but the body is there. That means I'm dead. Yeah.
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 Yeah, thank you
So
so
it
much,
was so
guys.
easy. You keep your same personality, because I'm the person that likes to joke. I like to laugh. And I was
Yeah.
laughing on the other side. That's what I was doing. In fact, I was having
Yeah.
so much fun. God was like a big parent. You know how a parent says in the playground, "Hey, don't run around the corner too fast. You might fall." That was
Yeah.
God telling me, "Hey, if you don't go back now, you might have to stay."
Mhm. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, so
Wow.
it changed, Kertia, it changed my whole viewpoint.
How do you like
And
navigate your life right now? Like coming
much more,
from, go ahead, go
yeah,
ahead.
much more easier. I
Yeah.
don't take things so serious, and I don't judge. Before, I was used to judge, oh, that person is horrible, this person is that person is horrible. Then I realized, hey, they all have amnesia. They don't even know who they are. And the first thing is, when you die, every person is made out of one thing: love.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a game. So that's the first thing, and that relieves a lot of stress, and also the fear of death. I'm not afraid. And oh, here's another one of my downloads: nobody dies a horrible death,
Mm.
because
Okay.
your soul is taken out seconds or even half an hour before you die.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So if somebody's being murdered, they're not going to experience the murder because the soul's taken out.
Wow.
You're going to hear people even tell you in a car accident, I didn't even feel the impact because they were already out of their body.
I've heard that before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't. Nobody dies a horrible death. That's why when you hear somebody say, "Oh, and person that's even tortured, if it happens too long, the soul will leave the body. It will not stay." And even women who have been raped can tell you, "I wasn't there. I left my body. I was not even in the body when they were doing. I was not there. They
I heard
left."
that too. Yeah.
Yeah, because the soul is taken out. It doesn't stay for long periods of torture or death.
Wow. Wow. What a huge that's definitely a huge perception shift because
Oh, definitely, it changed my way of approaching shows, because before I was ambitious. You can see some of the pictures of the people I work with. So, I was ambitious, man. I had to work with Quincy. I had to Michael Jackson producer. I had to work with, Chaka and all these other people, and um, now it's more. I do it because I want to do it for love. I do it for people to enjoy, that they're
yeah.
going to have a better experience in this game because they were listening to my music during my show. And that's it. It's not so much of, oh, I've got to be the best and I have to be this and that. I want to do a good show, of course, but I don't do it with the same expectations or pressure. I do it more
Yeah.
with love and enjoyment, and I'm having a good time. And I'm hoping that it's making your day or your night better from being at my show.
That's beautiful. That is so beautiful. That's a beautiful perception shift. Wow.
Yeah, because before I was just ambitious like crazy, and I had to do this and had to do that, and for
Constantly on the
me,
go.
yeah, but for me,
Yeah.
it's even the big stars, you're gonna see that a lot of their life is empty
Hmm. Oh
because
yeah, because we see all the time like a lot of stars they pass from overdoses
exactly,
or
and
you
you can't
find out
say
that
you
they're
can't,
going through yeah, the
right?
issues that they experience and you're like, "Well, I thought you should be happy or feel fulfilled
Yeah,
because
because
of."
they're not doing it out of love; they're doing it out of
Yeah.
fame, or they're doing it out of duty or whatever. But they're not doing what people expect them to do instead
Yeah.
of just doing what you love to do.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. That is so true. Thank you so much, Dennis. This was
You're welcome.
an amazing conversation. Thank you for sharing your
Yeah, I thank you
stories.
for having me on your program, and I'm so honored, and I thank you for having me here, because
Yeah.
I wanted to share that with everybody. Um, Once I got this information, it took me a while to come out of the closet, if you want to call it, to tell
Yeah.
people about this information. But now I don't care about what people think about me, or if they think I'm crazy. That's them. I know I'm a nice guy, and
Yeah.
and I just try to help people. That's all, and that's what I do. I that's why I do the sessions and the readings and stuff like that, is to make life better and to give people a good perspective on trans how to navigate this transition in a better way, because you don't want to think about logic. Because if you go logic now, you're going to lead to the road called insanity. Why?
Yeah.
Because the planet, the whole earth has changed vibration. So what a person may used to do 12 years ago and they try to do the same thing might not work correctly or might not work at all.
Yeah.
Okay? Because the vibration has changed. So we don't go on logic so much now. We should go on vibration. Is it high or low vibration? That's it. And you want to do high vibration, and you don't want to engage in what I call low vibration conversation, which is talking about, hey, remember 2 years ago that horrible thing happened and it's going to happen again, or fear conversations. Oh, you hear what's happening in this country or that country, this could happen here. That's all low vibration conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
about just keeping our vibrations high.
And yes, yes, not being perfect, but as often as possible keeping it high.
Beautiful. How is it like? Do you find like you being a musician, a creative, you're always around people, right? Whether
Hmm.
you're like at conferences, you're performing, what have you. Um, how is it like now when you're interacting with people, when you're always on the go, like being now sensitive to receiving this information, downloads and things like that? um how is it like? Do you find that you're I guess experiencing other people's energy fields on a more on a greater level, or how does that affect you, that like this interaction with people, especially when you're on the go all the time?
Well, the thing is, I'm just more careful about my vibrational environment.
Yeah.
It's very important. And that's what I tell my clients also, be selfish about that. Because before all this happened, I could hang with everybody, hang out with everybody. It was not a problem. But
Mm,
now I'm more selective because if somebody's going to be talking about negative things or, or on a negative vibration about whatever the thing may be, about politics or about uh, any subject, if it's in a low vibration, I tend to not hang out with those type of people.
yeah.
Okay, and and it doesn't mean like I'm against. I don't like injustice either, but I know that hate of any kind is a low vibration, and it's
Yeah.
not going to do anything but get more low vibrations. Okay,
Absolutely.
so so it doesn't mean that I turn my eye to people who are having the injustice happen in their life. No, I pray for them and I want things to be good for them, but I don't go on the to hate anybody
Mm,
because low vibrations in my downloads only bring more low vibrations.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It does not do the good that you would want it. If you want to do more good, you want to be more on high vibrations. And the more you're on high vibrations, you're going to watch your life change.
Yeah.
Your life will change. You'll have more money. You'll have better jobs. You'll have better friends. You'll have better romance. You'll have
Mm-hmm.
uh you'll have all the things that you would like and that you would need when you're on a higher vibration. It's like a radio station. You want to stay on the classical. You don't want to go on the heavy metal. you know. So
Yeah.
yeah. So that's
Awesome.
yeah. So that's how I do now. I mean, because I know a lot of people and I know a lot of musicians, and some of them I still like to hang out with, but some of them I don't hang out with anymore because of their vibration. And
Yeah.
vibrations, if you're on a high vibration, your friends can even drop off without you even knowing it or without you even trying to do it because they don't find you interesting anymore because you're not talking about hateful things, wars, and killing, and how bad this person is doing that bad. You're talking about sunshine. You're talking about, hey, did you hear about the baby that just got born? Did you hear? You're talking about other things. So your vibration is different and it's
Yeah.
like a radio station. They can't get that heavy metal station. They can only get Mozart. So you see,
Yeah. And not
yeah,
everyone is interested in Mozart.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's just an example. I'm not saying that, you have to
I
like
know.
Mozart, but I'm just saying that you want to have
I
on this
know.
high vibration. That's all. It's like the
Yeah.
radio station. Yeah.
Not everyone is into that. Not everyone is aligned with that frequency. Like everyone
Hmm.
at their own pace.
Yeah, of course,
Exactly.
but you want to have a high vibration, and however, whatever example you want to have, whatever your favorite music star could be Beyonce, whatever, whoever it is. Um, but those frequencies is like radio stations, and that's why I
Yeah.
say if you're in a high vibration, low vibrations can't come around you so easily.
Yeah.
Because if you put a positive and a negative in the same room, they can't stay very long.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a positive person and a real negative person, how long they can stay together? Not very
Not
long.
long. Not long.
Because that's right, because those vibrations, they don't match. If I sing
Yeah.
a certain note, I can break a glass if I match the vibration of the glass.
Yeah.
You see, so that's what it's all about. It's about vibrations, not so much about logic. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Dennis. Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for having me.